Oh, hey. So last night I decided to go to bed early for the first time since like 1971 to get a good 8 hours of sleep. So naturally, Valve said, you know what? I'm going to release the Pick'ems update at midnight. So I might be a little bit late to the party here, but I'm ready to do my Pick'ems, baby. But before we get into all that, I want to thank today's sponsor, SkinsMonkey. So SkinsMonkey is an automated CS2 trading site that provides an instant way for you to get new skins. All you have to do is select your old skins that you don't want anymore and then pick out some fresh ones to trade for. It's as easy as that. And right now you could get a free $5 if you use code TACTICS on the site. And finally, you could get up to a 35% deposit bonus when using my code. So thanks again to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Links in the description. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that the first CS2 major is right around the corner, only 2 days away. And just like always, Valve, without any communication, cut it a little bit close with the update timing, but nonetheless, the update's in and we're ready to go. So just like always, to get your major coin, and definitely not the same looking coin that we've had since 2019, you'll have to buy the viewer pass. And with that, there are two different tiers, one that's just kind of the basic pass, and the other one contains some additional souvenir tokens. And since I can't seem to stop giving Valve my money, I forked up my 18 bucks. So one of the biggest changes to the Pick'ems this year is the fact that you now have to pick 2 3-0 teams and then 6 teams that will go 3-1 or 3-2. You can't just put your 3-0 pick in the advanced column for a safe pick anymore. I actually really like this and think it's going to make it a bit more exciting. To get through to the next stage, you've got to make 5 out of your 10 correct picks, which isn't too hard in my opinion, but it may get a little interesting because recently the majors have been wild as far as results. Best of ones in MR12 get absolutely crazy, so nothing is a sure safe pick in my opinion. Along with that, they've also changed the name of the Challenger stage to the opening stage and the Legend stage to the elimination stage, which is kind of weird because you can get eliminated in both, but hey, it is what it is. Another cool thing that they've added in is the fact that you can actually place your picks and lock them in before buying the pass. If you want the rewards for it, you're just going to have to lock in and buy the pass before each stage begins though. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into my Pick'ems here, who I think is going to be able to make it on from the opening stage into the elimination stage. So there's some pretty cool stuff here. There's a leaderboard where you can compete and kind of talk a little bit of trash to your friends if they're making some bad picks. As well as you can set your team graffiti, whoever you're kind of rooting for, you probably want to set it to this, and you have an unlimited use of this throughout the entirety of the major. I'm going to pick complexity because I want them to make the playoffs and keep that America's RMR legend spot, or sorry, the elimination stage spot. I want the region to do well. It probably won't, but let's hope. But enough of that, let's get into the actual picks. So we're going to start with the 3-0 column. I think this is probably the most exciting one. It's the best teams. To be honest, the best looking team in this opening stage, I'm going to have to say is Cloud9. They've had some rocky results as of late. They've even gotten beaten down by Saw pretty bad in the Blast Showdown recently. Another team that I think definitely could go 3-0, but I'll kind of explain why I may not pick them in that here in just a second. But first, let's talk about Cloud9. Cloud9, they have the core of that 2021 major winning Na'Vi. They've got Electronic, Perfecto, and Boomich. They have a fantastic amount of experience in majors, and I think they have a lot of firepower. Exile has had a very bad year under the leadership of Electronic, and has had a little bit of a resurgence, in my opinion, under Boomich, but still, they don't have an AWPer. Boomich is on that AWP role. I don't know how I feel about them in the elimination stage, but I still think they're the strongest team in the opening stage and have the highest chance to go 3-0. That's just kind of my opinion on that. So for the second 3-0 spot, I've got a few teams that I'm just indecisive about. And the first of which is Saw. They are by far the hottest team right now. They had a really rocky start to the RMR. They went down 0-2 and then just won out. They didn't drop another map for the rest of the tournament. They qualified. They recently qualified for Blast by beating Cloud9. They also beat Liquid, and I think maybe it was OG. I can't remember exactly who they beat. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But I don't know enough about them. They had that rocky start to the RMR. They didn't have a very good best of one showing against teams like 9 Pandas. And I think it was 9 Pandas. They got beat down, I think 13-1 by 9 Pandas, which is pretty rough. 9 Pandas almost missed the major. They won out in that last chance qualifier. And then they also got destroyed by Virtus Pro. So I don't know. I'm not confident in them in a 3-0 pick, but I definitely think they're going to qualify onto the next stage. So I'm going to go ahead and put them down here in the advanced column. So moving on from there, there are 2 or 3 other teams that I think could be in that 3-0 spot, and that is going to be INTS, Heroic, and Eternal Fire. Honestly, at first I was really favoring Eternal Fire for the 3-0 slot, but looking at the matchups, they're having to play the Mongols early on in their opening stage, and I think the Mongols are a very, very good team, especially in a best of 1. I think the Mongols are the strongest team out of the Asian region that we have seen in a very, very long time. They're a great team with great upset potential. I actually think they're going to move on to the elimination stage. I'm going to put them just behind SAW here on advancing. And I don't know if I'm going to make this kind of a tier list. Honestly, out of these teams, I think SAW is probably maybe the best out of the teams that I'm, saying are just going to advance and not go 3-0. So I'll kind of do it that way as well, just to have an extra talking point. But definitely the Mongols, I think they're going to make it through. Since I think the Mongols could beat Eternal Fire, I'm going to drop Eternal Fire down here into the advanced column as well. And that just leads me to either INTS or to Heroic. And it's tough for me to choose between these two. With Glaive, I think he's done an incredible job with the 9 core. They're amazing. They've exceeded all expectations. No one really thought that Glaive was going to be able to come in here. What a weird lineup. 4 Polish players and then a Dane, the greatest IGL of all time, arguably. So, a really cool team. I think they could go 3-0 if they get hot. But right now, I'm favoring Heroic. I think Kixen is an excellent IGL. I think the firepower of Heroic is very good with Nerds, and Nikodas is having a resurgence into Tier 1 Counter-Strike. I think Heroic, being a Danish team on Danish soil, I think they're going to take that 3-0 slot right here. I think they have the best chance. So that is my 3-0 right there. INTS, they're definitely going to go through. I'm putting them up here right along the top row with SAW, Eternal Fire. Yeah, I definitely think they're going to make it through. So now that leaves us to 2 remaining teams here that are going to be going through to the elimination stage. So putting a lot of thought into that, I really don't see any way that Apex don't make it through. I think they have a lot of firepower as well. I'm loving seeing Stiko back in the lineup. He's somehow managed to qualify for the major and have a very, very good stat line while doing so, also while being a content creator and keeping a consistent upload schedule. Huge respect to him. That is awesome. And I think Jacob, if he is in the same form as he was in the RMR, they're going to go through to the elimination stage. And finally, that leads me down here to these last teams. I think right now I'm favoring Furia, but I could definitely see one of either 9 Pandas or Amcall Esports going through. I just don't know enough about them to be confident in that pick. The one thing that I do know, the other team that is an honorable mention is Koi, ex-Movie Star Riders. They are looking fantastic. I could see them making it through, but I just don't know. Out of all of these teams left, I think Furia is that they have the most experience in majors. They have fallen. They are just the team that I think, from a firepower standpoint, from an experience standpoint, out of the remaining teams, even though they've looked shaky, they looked like the best team. They were the best team coming out of the Americas RMR. So I'm going to throw them in as the last team that's going to qualify. And the rest of these teams, I don't think are going to make it. All right, so now let's close out with the teams that I think are going to go 0-3. Starting off, I think the weakest team in this opening stage is probably going to be Lin Vision. I didn't even expect them to be the best Chinese team going into this, but it's really cool to see them qualify. You could see how much it meant to them whenever they had that qualifying moment on LAN. But out of all of these other teams, I just think they're probably the ones that are lacking the most, but I would love to be proved wrong by that. I love seeing Chinese teams that aren't Tyloo. Nothing against Tyloo either. It's fun to see more Chinese teams making the major and kind of leaving their mark on international Counter-Strike. So I hope they're able to do something, but out of all the teams here, I think they're probably going to be the weakest. Followed by Pain. Pain's a newer team. They had a pretty easy path to the RMR, they had a pretty easy path through the RMR, and I just don't see them beating any of these teams here that are remaining. But it could happen, but I'm just gonna have to put Pain here. Just on the eye test, I think they're probably weaker than all the other South American teams. Legacy's pretty close, but I think I like Coldzera. I think maybe he'll I'm hoping he has a good performance. I really am in the opening stage, because he's an absolute legend of the game. One of the best players of CSGO, and it's really cool to see him in CS2. Maybe I'm just picking with my heart here, but I do think Legacy is a tad bit better than Pain. So yeah, guys, I know this is a little bit of a different video than I usually make. I'm usually just covering utility or tactics, but the major's coming up. I'm super excited about it. Wanted to share my pick'ems and my thoughts on that. So if you guys enjoy that type of content from me, let me know down in the comments, because I'll probably make another one of these for the elimination stage. So yeah, just let me know how you feel about that. I have also started up channel memberships, and I'm going to be starting a Patreon very soon. So if you want to support me in any way like that, please feel free to go ahead and join up. I'm going to be doing a little bit more. I'm actually going to be starting doing YouTube full time here in the next couple of months, and I'm going to be doing a lot more community gameplay and that sort of thing, streaming, and maybe even playing with viewers in my Discord. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Anyways, guys, hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.